We're doing things a little bit out of order this evening. So we had a study session that, if you guys, we'll give you a minute to clear out and make some seats for others who want to sit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Sorry, I forgot.
It's okay.
Thank you. I don't understand why they don't want to stay for the riveting rest of the meeting. Thank you. All right, so we're doing things a little bit out of order tonight. We had a study session that we had put on the agenda for 5 that we have noticed the neighbors at 6 p.m. So we're going to do it right after the consent item. So we'll get to study session item number 2 right after consent, which should go very quickly. But prior to that, we have a special announcement from Councilmember Constantine.
Sure. I'm the city's trustee on the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District, and it has been reported that a human case of flea-borne typhus has been reported here in the city of Fountain Valley. The cross streets for the case are Slater Avenue and Magnolia, and the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District will notify residents about the potential health threats of that, and they'll be posting signs that will remain in the area until the district staff has completed their final inspections and reports. So pretty much fleas found on cats, dogs, opossums, and other backyard wildlife can carry the bacteria that causes wildlife. Report dead opossums, cats, and other animals to local animal control agencies, and keep pet cats indoors, and consult your veterinarian about flea control products. So I'm going to have our city clerk, Rick, leave these 3 pieces in case anybody in the audience wants to look at them. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to comment. I actually had a dead possum last year in my yard and around the same time that happened. So if you have a dead possum in your backyard, it could be because of the flea-borne typhus.
All right. Well, thank you for that update. Just to clarify, I said study session 2 was study session 1 that has been postponed. We'll get to that in a few minutes. First, we're going to go to First City Council Successor Agency Housing Authority public comments. Do we have anybody requesting to speak on unscheduled matters only?
We have 12 requests to speak.
Okay, so we have 12 requests. Just a reminder for those that are going to speak, since it's an unscheduled matter, as much as the council would like to comment, answer questions, give you feedback, we're not eligible to be able to do so. It's an unscheduled, not agendized item that you'll be speaking about. We'll more than willing to meet with you afterwards and speak with you. Our staff can meet you in the back if there are specific questions, and we could also bring it up at a future meeting. So you each are going to get 3 minutes to speak. We have 12 people. That's going to take about 36 minutes or so. So Rick, why don't you go ahead and call the first person, please?
Maribeth Goldsby. And just our timer is not working, so I'm going to time you from here. When that buzzer goes off, that's 3 minutes.
Welcome, Maribeth.
Thank you. Mayor Grandis and council members, thank you for the opportunity to address you today regarding the issues we're facing in the Stardust Tract. My name is Maribeth Goldsby, and I have both lived and worked in Fountain Valley for over 30 years. We have always loved Fountain Valley and commonly refer to it as an island of calm surrounded by chaos. I raised my children in my home and never thought twice about letting them ride bicycles around the neighborhood or to school, and I've never had any reason to feel unsafe or insecure or question the area with which I live. But, and that's a but with a capital B, things are changing. Our neighborhood has been subject to many threats recently. Garages are being burglarized, cars are broken into, children are being followed, drugs are being used in open areas, and drug paraphernalia and liquor bottles are found in the street. We routinely have men sitting on the curb in our street smoking marijuana. Now, I understand marijuana is legal in this state, but as far as I'm aware, it's not legal to do anywhere you'd like. The issues we are experiencing are absolutely stem from the sober living houses in our neighborhood, which have dramatically increased over the past several years. From what I understand, there are as many as 10 between Magnolia and Newland and Ellis and Garfield. The house I personally experienced negative issues with is the one located on Santa Marta. This home is not managed properly, and many of the issues we are experiencing are coming from this house. Though men walk by my house talking about buying drugs, I thought the term sober meant free from drugs and alcohol. I believe the owners of the house are clearly gaming the system. I understand they even have beds set up in the garage. I now understand that in order to get around the terms of the ordinance the council recently adopted, they have applied for a permit to run a mental health facility there instead of a sober living facility. This is a degradation of our neighborhood. We are no longer able to leave the garage door open for fear of theft, or more importantly, we can't allow children to play in the streets unsupervised. The Santa Marta house has invited criminals into the neighborhood, and it's been hell. Now, you might think that I'm against sober living houses in general. In fact, I'm not. We have Dee's House open in our neighborhood for the last 10 to 14 years. It's a sober living for women, and it's right across the street from the Santa Marta home. Another reason they may want to change permitting to mental health. Dee's House has been wonderful neighbors, and the only women staying there are truly sober, productive members of society. So this isn't a not in my neighborhood appeal. This is an appeal to consider limiting the number of group-type homes that can open in a neighborhood, and to, more importantly, not approve any permit associated with the Santa Marta property. I know it can be difficult being a council member, but we have elected you to carry out the will of your constituents, and there is trouble brewing. Sometimes the city councils need to make tough decisions to keep this community a nice place to live. I beg you to please take action to keep our neighborhood nice and safe and to limit these homes, and please deny the mental health permit for the Santa Marta property. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Maribeth.
Bruce Scott.
One more time.
Bruce Scott.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. What I'd like to do is, I had this long dissertation, but after she just spoke, she said most of the words. We've lived in Fountain Valley for 37 years. Our girls have grown up and moved off, and we've had multiple opportunities to leave, but Fountain Valley to us was a safe place. It was a harbor where you knew the people and everything going on was very calm, but it has started to be more like a factor where people have not the freedom we've had before. I cannot, they refer to these places as safe houses. I refer to it as half a safe house, because as was spoken, these people are walking up and down the streets, and I guess they have to get away. I don't know if they can smoke marijuana in the house, but they seem to be smoking in front of my house. And it's amazing that we don't get contact highs from the amount of marijuana that goes up and down our street every day. So I'm really kind of trying to figure out what in the world is going on with these safe houses. The other thing is, we measured within a quarter of a mile, 4 houses are from my front door. I'm not sure whether you regulate how many can come into the area, but if you don't have a regulation and they aren't coming to you, we had no idea until all of a sudden we've had all these problems. So why are the residents informed that there are people such as this and they're putting these houses out there? Because all of a sudden, after years, we're thinking this is not going to be sustainable for us. We still like Fountain Valley. It's close to everything we do, but I cannot continue to have friends over with young children. One of our neighbors can't have friends or their kids in their front yard or their backyard because they back up to one of these half-safe houses, and they've had issues from the residents. So I think if you have not been informed in the past what's going on, I think someone needs to bring to you on a regular basis what is going on with these half-safe houses. And I'm not sure that Fountain Valley wants to change their license frame for the nicest place to live to the half-safe place to live. because there's so many of them. And that young lady who just spoke said there's 10. And I'm not sure what is going on in the rest of Fountain Valley if you're using our place, our area, as a dump ground for these houses, but it certainly needs to stop. And you need to be more aware of what's going on. And if there's one particular person in the city that regulates these things, they need to inform the residents and give us a fighting chance to at least make it safe for
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Moffa. Nick Moffa.
Good evening. My name is Nick Moffa, and I'm here tonight to talk to you about the same issue that the last two speakers have addressed. The city passed a group home and sober living ordinance this January, and city staff has interpreted that ordinance. Unfortunately, this interpretation is leading to less protections in single-family zones than in all other zones. On a personal level, my family and I are involved citizens coaching youth sports, helping at school events, and voting in local elections. We moved into what we hoped would be our forever home in the Starduck Tract in 2020. We were aware at that time that there was a state-licensed alcohol recovery facility in the neighborhood, Dee's House. But a potential neighbor, many potential neighbors assured us that they had been there for a while with no issues, and that's been consistent with our experience. Unfortunately, in November of 2022, the home directly across from Dee's and directly behind mine opened a sober living home. They have done nothing but not fit in with the neighborhood. They've caused numerous issues, including following and intimidating young children and women, empty liquor bottles thrown in my backyard, thefts, violent and verbal altercations, and the regular use of loud, lewd, and inappropriate language. So when the council passed the group home ordinance earlier this year, we were ecstatic, especially given the proximity from the new home to the licensed facility. It's roughly 100 feet, compared to the 650 feet of separation required by the ordinance. We believe this regulation alone would be enough to force the house to cease operations. However, when we reached out to the city recently following the latest incident, an occupant stealing a bike from an open garage, we were informed that this sober living home had applied for a group home permit under the guise of being for mentally ill individuals. Still, given the proximity to the existing licensed home and what seems like a very clear intent of the ordinance and the council action request that states, permits will not be issued unless there is a 650-foot separation between the applicant's group home and any other sober living home. We felt this would be a quick and easy denial for the city. We were shocked when we were told by staff that the minimum 650-foot separation from group home to group home applies in every zone other than single-family residential. For some reason, within single-family neighborhoods, the ordinance only specifies that no sober home shall be within 650 feet of another sober home. Staff's interpretation seems to be that because the language notes sober home and not group home, all other group home uses are allowed within this 650-foot buffer. For our situation specifically, since this sober home is applied under the guise of a mental illness facility, the separation requirement would not apply. Not only does this interpretation allow this home to be within 100 feet of another, it also potentially paves the way for other group home uses to secure permits under other categories, exponentially increasing the supply and providing less regulation here than in every other zone. Given the council's previous discussions about preserving the character of our neighborhoods and preventing the clustering of group homes, not just sober living homes, I don't believe this was council's intent. I would like to kindly ask City Council to review staff's interpretation compared to that intent and modify the ordinance if needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Terri Fricker.
One more time.
Terri Fricker.
Welcome, Terry.
I'm not gonna speak long. I just have a map. So the house they're talking about here is in red because we're not happy with it. The house here, green, has been there. I don't know if it's been there since 2010 or if it's been there 10 years, but there's been no problems here with this greenhouse. I live right here. There's another sober living here that I did yellow because we just have issues with parking. They're not chasing children. Group home, I don't know if it counts. We haven't even been talking about, I know that we have at least one where the elderly live. We've had 3 at different times. So if they're considered group homes, we have at least 11.
Thank you, Terry.
Shane Holiday.
One more.
Shane Holiday.
Hard to hear with the clapping. Welcome, Shane.
Members of the City Council, thanks for having me. Speak quickly. I live on Cardinal Avenue in Stardust, and my complaint again is about the halfway houses and sober living. I am the house on Cardinal Avenue that was just impacted by home invasion, not just stealing a bike, from 18871 Santa Marta. And that is a house that the police know very well. Plenty of problems. There's cops out there all the time. So it's not just a nuisance, it's a safety issue. So on the first of the month, I'm at home with the electrician working on the back panel at the back side of the house. And my garage is open because they're going in and out. And my daughter's on the couch. She's 7 years old. And someone was just kicked out of the house, and they threw him out because he was intoxicated on fentanyl. And first thing they're looking to do is go through the houses. They're casing the joint. We see him on Ring cameras. We see him on security cameras across the street. So we ID'd him and went house to house and asked. Finally made it to the sober living, and they knew exactly who it was, just kicked him out. Got the police involved. But the point of the matter is, cars are parked, contractor's car on the driveway with mine. I'm in the backyard, my daughter's on the couch watching TV. Comes into the garage, takes a bike. There's a door to my living room where she's sitting, right there, unlocked. Anyone that's that crazy to come onto the premises with cars, parked people going in and out, walking around, they're unpredictable, they're unstable, and they're capable of anything. So highly dangerous, and they're on drugs. And what else are they going to steal? What else do they want? While I'm in the backyard, they could have come in that door, grabbed her. So this is a major issue, and very emotional for all of us that live in the Stardust track. So we need something done about this. It's just that there has to be consequences that result in maybe a strike system. When I was in college, if there's noise, we're out of there on the second strike. We're evicted. That was in Ohio. So something along those lines where, there's problems with the police. They have a warrant looking out for him right now. Or I believe that's in the process. They will get him because they have his, we've ID'd him. The person that's managing that house corroborated my testimony. So we have to find a way to not accept this. We have to put our foot down and say that enough is enough. We're putting our families in danger. I can't have her out in the front lawn anymore. Had to talk to her, warn her that, and now she's freaked out. She won't leave the house. So it's too early of an age to not be, she's not wandering around, but she should be able to play on the front lawn or in the garage.
Time is up.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you. Miss Zepeda. Miss Zepeda.
Welcome, Ms. Zepeda.
Hi. Mayor Grandis, thank you. Ms. Constantine, council people, good evening. Start. My name is Lisa Zepeda. I'm sure you all know who I am. I am one of the 5 self-proclaimed mayors of Stardust, the track between Magnolia, Garfield, Newland, and Ellis. I love my neighborhood, and I am here to protect it. I moved into my house in 1976. I raised my family here, and I even work in the Fountain Valley School District. I've organized 4th of July bike parades in Stardust for the past 15 years, but this year it was interrupted by 4 police cars at 18871 Santa Marta, the house whose permit should not be approved. Did you know that there are at least 10 rehab houses in my neighborhood? All within a 2-mile radius, where there are families with children. On any given day or night, you will see 1 to 6 guys smoking weed in front of 18871 Santa Marta.
Smoking weed while walking to Harper Park, smoking weed at Harper Park where there are children, or at the corner of my street smoking weed and leaving their trash in the gutter. By the time the police come, they are all gone. My 16-year-old and 21-year-old daughters, who are here today with my son, have been harassed by them, by different groups all the time. I no longer let my kids walk the dogs without me, and I always have pepper spray and a small baseball bat. That doesn't sound like a nice place to live. How are they allowed to smoke weed at a rehab facility, but I get a warning for accidentally putting my trash cans out a day early? When is code enforcement going to really step in, and the police and the city? Adding this trash to our neighborhood will eventually lower our property value. Who wants to move into a neighborhood with 10 rehab houses? Not me. Us Stardusters are mad and exhausted, and we want help, and we want change. I'm giving you all on the panel a challenge. Park on Santa Catherine, turn left on Swallow, left on Santa Marta, passing 18871. Onto Turn Avenue, passing 8686, another suspected rehab house. Walk towards Harper Park and sit there for an hour with no pepper spray, dog, or baseball bat. Count how many groups you find walking up to smoke weed and drink alcohol at the park. Do it during the day or the night and tell me if you feel safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maya Zepeda. Maya Zepeda.
Welcome, Maya.
Hi, thank you. Okay. What I have down is mostly what everyone has as well, but it's what I've got. Okay. It's devastating that I have to speak about this and stand up for my neighborhood, but we in Stardust have serious concerns about the concentration of rehabilitation/mental health houses within a square mile area. This is way too high of density, and it has led to a range of problems affecting the safety and well-being of our neighborhood. I've lived in Stardust since I was 4. We're all very close and communicate regularly, especially when there's problems in our neighborhood. Our severe recent observations have included an increase in criminal activities such as vehicle break-ins, thefts from yards, and disturbing incidences where young girls have been followed, my sister and I. Additionally, drug use, particularly marijuana, is prevalent in public spaces and parks where children are present. It doesn't sound like a really nice place to live. That's what Fountain Valley is supposed to be. Moreover, one rehab/mental illness house, which we've all spoken about today, appears to be working under a permit, which is non-compliant with California state regulations, specifically California Health and Safety Code section 11834.02. It mandates that residential drug treatment facilities must comply with local zoning ordinances and operational standards. Additionally, California Code of Regulations Title IX, Section 10538 requires that facilities provide appropriate discharge planning for residences, including arrangements for transportation upon discharge. And it has come to our attention that this facility is not adhering to these requirements and is reportedly discharging individuals without proper transportation arrangements, leaving them without means to return home. Because they have no way of getting home, they're stealing bicycles from our residents' backyards. I respectfully ask the City of Fountain Valley the following actions. Compliance review. Verify that all rehabilitation houses in the area are in compliance with local zoning laws and California state regulations, particularly regarding their operational permits and standards. Increase law enforcement. Enhance police patrols and surveillance in the affected area to curb criminal activities and ensure neighborhood safety. Substance abuse control. Strengthen efforts to address illegal drug use in public areas, especially where children are likely to be present. Facility oversight. Investigate the specific rehab mental health house that is reportedly failing to provide proper discharge planning and transportation, ensuring that it adheres to California regulations. Neighborhood support. Provide resources and support for residences to help mitigate the impact of these issues on their daily lives. I'm confident that appropriate measures can address these issues effectively. Myself, I work at Fountain Valley UCI Regional Hospital. My mom works at Plavin School. And, we're all part of the community. We have bike parades that was interrupted by the police that were at that specific house. And there's just a lot that's going on, and we don't feel safe in our neighborhood. And that's really sad, especially because there's a lot of children. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maya.
Patrick Tucker.
Patrick Tucker. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, City Council. I can't say a whole lot that they haven't already said, but they hit the nail on the head. I knew about this particular troublesome house. I drive in the tract and drive down the street, and you can see them hanging on the fence and smoking. Stardust Track 72 just kind of minds their own business. They take care of their own. So if you take a look at the police blotter, with the exception of this house, that you don't need the resource down there. We take care of our own. We have a great community, the best neighborhood. Thank you. But we're looking to you folks to help us out. I didn't know that there was up to 10 sober living or group houses. I didn't know that. I do know about the one that's troublesome, and there's now a new troublesome one at 8686 Turn. So those are the two addresses. Send the fire department. If they're sleeping in the garage, that's a code violation. The fire department can go in without a warrant. So I'm not going to teach you guys how to do your job or teach a law or anything like that. But there are avenues, and we're asking you to please, please, please help us with those two. We're not saying get rid of, I mean, I'm considerate of addiction problems. I understand that, but we also have a right to live. So thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Anthony Lucia.
Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you. Again, I want to thank everyone here for I got the same thing to say all these people do. Forgive me while I read this. My name's Tony Lucia. My family has been original owners of the home in Stardust community since 1964. I stand here today as a deeply concerned citizen of Fountain Valley. As members of the Stardust community, we are alarmed by the rapid changes we've witnessed in our neighborhood. Changes that threaten the very fabric of what has made Fountain Valley a wonderful place to live. Specifically, I'm referring to the increasing number of recovery drug houses and mentally ill facilities that have been allowed to establish themselves in our tract. The negative impact that they are having on our community and the negative impact they're having on our community. Stardust has always been known as a safe, family-friendly community, a place where our children can play or go to the park without fear, a place where neighbors could connect in peace, a place where we could leave our garages open and not worry about thieves coming and stealing your stuff. Unfortunately, that reality is fading fast. We now see thugs roaming our street, openly smoking pot, shouting obscene language, painting graffiti in the park, driving at dangerous speeds down our street. The rise in the thefts and the other criminal activities has made us feel unsafe in our own homes, and that is simply unacceptable. What is especially troubling is the high concentration of these facilities in our neighborhood. It is disgraceful that the city of Fountain Valley has allowed this to happen. These high-profit businesses do not belong in our tract. We demand that the city address this situation immediately. The city needs to put an end to the legal or illegal operation of these establishments in our neighborhood once and for all. And I'll just add a little note to the end is like, common sense, guys. If you're noticing a lot of police activity, which I have never seen that much police activity in my tract in my entire life, there's something going on, guys. People are calling the police for a reason. It's unsafe. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony.
Barbara Bresnan.
Welcome, Barbara.
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to let us speak. I've been here before. I grew up in that neighborhood. Like right next to the corner house, and our Ring camera picks up all the activity in that house. We have had people urinating in our yard. We've had people smoking pot across the street. I can't let my grandchildren play out front. I'm out there all the time. I have a rose garden, so I see everything that's happening. I guess you can call me the Mrs. Kravitz of the neighborhood, but I see everything, and I'm recording everything, and I know everybody else had all these eloquent things to say. I'm just telling you, as a neighborhood, we're fed up, and we need some kind of resolution. I want to know how they can move in and open these businesses without our knowing. Dee's house has been nothing but great. They live right across the street. I actually used to live in that house. They have been no problems. I don't have a problem with having sober living people, but this house at 18871 has been nothing but problems. The manager of the house is very accommodating, but the problem isn't going away. It's getting worse. They're dropping people off. They hang out across the street from my house, and they drop their things there and then go walk to everybody else's house and walk the neighborhood. In the past 3 nights, my dog has woken me up to somebody hanging out across the street from our house, going in and out of their car, and the manager of the house said, well, he has insomnia. That's not my problem. I don't want people roaming the neighborhood at 3, 4 in the morning. So I want to try to figure out with you guys how we can deny this permit, because I don't believe it's a mental health facility. And if it is, it's still a group home. So I'm hoping that we are notified next time that one of these residences move in. And if there is a hearing, please let us know. I'm within 200 feet of this, and it's caused nothing but problems. I have to keep all my doors and windows closed. I'm afraid to be in my own house alone. So if you guys could please put it on the agenda and let us know.
Welcome, Darren.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you guys and with all my friends and neighbors. I moved to Fountain Valley 23 years ago. I live on Santa Catherine Street. I moved there to raise my family because it is a nice place to live. We have a beautiful place to live. We have a beautiful city. We have great law enforcement. I see them represented here. I've always bragged about it to everybody I met, what an amazing place it is. Now, raising my 3 daughters was a beautiful experience, and it's not anymore. My youngest daughter can't even leave the house after dark without worrying about getting accosted. She's been harassed repeatedly by people from both houses, 8686 Turn and 18871 Santa Marta. I have a unique perspective. I have a big golden retriever, and I run him around the whole neighborhood, the whole Stardust Trek, 2 to 3 times a day, and I get to see what's happening. And I'm exposed constantly to just tons of marijuana smoke, lewd comments if my daughters go with me, and it's a constant. I had a bike stolen out of my side yard 2 weeks ago while my daughters were home. I wasn't there. All the cars were in the driveway. And so it's just been a constant crime. Cars broken into, my car's broken into. But you've heard a lot of people talk about all the challenges we've had, and it sounds like it's a big epidemic, and it is in our neighborhood. For the first 21 years I lived there, I was really proud, and I'd tell everybody, this is a great place to live, it's amazing, we can go out anytime, it's beautiful. It's not like Huntington. Huntington, there's a lot more crime. It's a lot, it can be seedier, it's different. And I really enjoyed telling people, yeah, I'm from Fountain Valley, and it is a nice place to live. It's hard to say that now. It really is in our neighborhood. And I'm just here to ask to be in solidarity with my neighbors and ask for support. I'm sure they're violating a lot of regulations, but the biggest one is just making it a rough neighborhood and not a nice place to live anymore. And it's sad because I have a grandson now. I can't let him play in the front yard even with my wife and my daughters unless I'm out there. You know, so we have to supervise our own family in the yard to make sure that it's safe. Now, that shouldn't happen in Orange County, but it certainly shouldn't happen in Fountain Valley because it is a beautiful place. And so anything you can do to help support us in creating some kind of reconciliation where it's either cleaned up or they're knocked out, please help us. I'm just asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren.
Shane Abassi.
Welcome, Shane.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for allowing me to speak. I tried speaking at the beginning of July, but I was at Sacramento working on a project. Then July 16, I was over at a Republican convention working as the youth delegate. But I'm really happy to be speaking here today. Growing up in a low-income family in a Title I public high school, I experienced firsthand the stark wealth disparity that exists in our community. It was evident in the cracked textbooks we used and the outdated computers that we struggled to keep up with our educational needs. But it wasn't just about the resources. It was about the lack of opportunities for young people to have a voice, to feel empowered, and to contribute to the decisions that shape our lives. My journey into civic engagement began in early 2022, after an experience at a neighborhood meeting. I was there volunteering, helping with setup. When I noticed the local group of high schoolers trying to share their concerns, they talked about how they weren't feeling safe about safe places to go after school and how the closest community center was too far away. But instead of listening to these students, the adults in the room seemed to brush off their concerns, focusing on the issues that they thought were important. Watching this, I felt frustrated and realized how easily young people's voices could be ignored, even if their concerns were real and important. From February to today, every day after school, I went door to door, talking with community members and knocking on over 8,000 doors. Through these conversations, I connected with people on the issues that really matter to our community, like the cost of living, access to healthcare, and affordable housing. These are challenges that many of us face, including my own family. And this experience is what drives me to advocate for the creation of a youth commission in Fountain Valley. Cities such as Anaheim, Santa Ana, Westminster, they already have these youth commissions. And the result? The youth in these cities engage in civic duties higher than any other city. In the March presidential primaries, only 12% of voters aged 18 to 29 cast a ballot. This is wrong, and we need more people, more young people, engaging civically. As a member of the Youth Commission, we would have the responsibility to advise the City Council on the proposed annual budget for parks and recreation, community services, making sure that the needs of young people are prioritized. We would also recommend policies and legislation aimed at improving the position of youth in Fountain Valley, policies that could address the very disparities I experienced growing up. In my own life, I have seen how important it is for young people to speak up and get involved. For example, I helped register over 500 young voters and encouraged them to take part in our community. By establishing a youth commission, we are not just giving young people a seat at the table, we are empowering them to shape the future of our city. We are providing them with tools, a platform, and the support they need to turn their ideas into action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no other requests to speak.
Okay. So next is public comments on scheduled matters.